Salutations everyone, my name is Alien99, and here is going to be the start of a new video series of me just kind of documenting a project I'm going to be making in Unity. For this project, it's going to be, well, the main type of game it's going to be is in the realm of a time travel puzzle. Now, the time travel is basically going to be kind of the mechanic of the game, whereas the puzzle is going to be the kind of what game it's going to be. I'm going to make it in 3D, and we're just going to go ahead and create it. Alright, so Unity finally loaded in, and here's our area. As you guys can see, it's a new project. So what we're going to be doing here is designing the title screen, the metric scene, and then we're going to be building a pause menu that will take us from the metric scene to the title screen. Obviously, the title screen will take us from the title screen to the metric scene. I'm going to do the metric scene here first. Yes, reload. I'm going to take the main camera here and rename this to FPS cam. Good. Now, what I'm about to do here, okay, actually I can reset this to put it to the 0. This I wouldn't normally do, but given the fact that it is a construct a cube here, we'll make this a 20 by 20 here. I don't need that connected. Given that this thing is a 20 by 20 now, this would be good for this would be a good platform. But also I should probably rename this now to level layout. I'll explain probably what this is when I'm doing this in the next video because I don't want to give confusion. I'll rename this to floor. And we'll go from here, go back to assets, create a new folder, call this materials. And then create a new material. Just call this floor for the heck of it. Change it to a gray. I'm just now realizing that this software stuff doesn't capture every last thing. So now we've got a floor. We're going to get the player in here. I'm just going to use a capsule for now. We'll move him a little bit more over here. Rename him to player. And we'll set the FPS cam to be right there, and we'll reset it. Bring it up a little bit. Maybe move it down a bit as well. Go materials, and we're going to create a new material for our player here. Make it a nice green looking color. We can always I'll go in and reset this later if I have to. Yeah, that looks good for now. Okay. And we're going to create a new folder called scripts. And then we're going to do a C# script. Call it player. Yeah, we're going to call player controller. Open it up. All right. And now we have Visual Studio opened. Go ahead and begin doing this. So first thing we're going to do here is comment out a section for our variables. And the first variable we're going to have is a public character controller. And we're going to have this thing be called controller. And we'll also need a public float. Call it speed and set that equal to 6. And I'll put in a public game object for now for GM. This is going to stand for game manager. So for controller equals get component character controller. We don't have one right now on the player, but we will put one on. And then GM game object dot find game manager. So yeah, there's no game manager at this moment in time, so for now I'm actually just gonna comment that out. And then what I'll do next is make a float x is equal to input dot get axis horizontal float z equals input dot get axis vertical, that spell it correctly. And then from here we're going to do a vector3 move at vector3 move equals transform dot right times x plus transform dot forward times z. And lastly, we're going to put in controller dot move is going to be it's going to be move times speed times time dot delta time. And what all this is going to do is simply give our character movement. Not show Visual Studio now. I added a character controller right here. Collapse these things because they're needed, but we don't need to see them. We're not going to be doing anything with them. Take our player controller. Do that. And I don't believe I need to do that if I look back over here. Yeah, this will get it, so so I did this correctly. This should work. So we'll be able to see also over here. Oh, I've maximized on play. I don't need to maximize on play. Play this. And yes, so it did get the character control. So as you guys can see, we're able to move around. Now we're not able to rotate, and we're going to deal with that right now, actually. Save the scene. Create new C# script called this camera controls. Camera control. Alright guys, so now that we have camera controls up finally, we're going to do once again, make a comment out area for variables, and we're going to first do a public float mouse sensitivity, and let's set that equal to 100F. And we're also going to make an X rotation, and let's set that equal to 0 for now. Next up, we're going to do a public transform, not drag reference, public transform, and this will be the player body, and one more will be the another one for game object, and this will just be the GM. We'll put it in, but we're just going to comment it out until we actually put the game manager in. For now, we're just going to have player body equals to game object dot find player, if I can spell today, dot transform. Next, what we're going to do is, let's just do it right now, I guess. Game manager equals game object dot find game manager. Oh, excuse me. Alright, and that should be good there. Now what I'm going to do is, so when we're playing, we don't want to be able to see our cursor. So, I mean, this is an FPS game after all. First person game, so we're going to do cursor dot lock state equals cursor lock mode dot locked. So this is going to keep our cursor in the center of the screen, and cursor dot visible will simply make it so that we can't see the cursor. And now for the actual rotation stuff. So for rotation, we're going to do a float. We'll do mouse X. Well, this is what we're calling it. I should have mentioned that earlier. When we're doing this, this is what we're just simply calling the variable. Equals input dot get axis mouse X times mouse sensitivity times time dot delta time. And here we're going to do float mouse Y, we're going to call this one, equals input dot, not indexer, input dot get axis mouse Y, and we're just basically going to do the same thing because it's up there. Mouse sensitivity times time dot delta time. Okay, so that'll do that. Now we're going to deal with the X rotation. Is going to be minus equals mouse Y X rotation equals math f dot clamp X rotation minus 90 f comma 90 f. Need that said. Transform dot local rotation equals quaternion dot Euler x rotation 0f comma, oh, don't need the space there really, 0f, and then player body dot rotate f dot rotate I don't know why I couldn't get that correctly, vector 3 up times mouse x, and this all will get all of the good stuff for our rotation for when we're moving our mouse. So if we click back into Unity here, let me just invisible that for y'all. The reason why I have to, there's a bit of delay is because my recording setup is just a little bit weird. So, and don't forget to put the camera controls on the actual camera. I've done that a couple times, and even that with the player, for that matter. So now when we play, we don't see our mouse, and if we were to actually stop the movement of the mouse and hit escape key, we see that it is centered. Press again, and it's centered. So this is basically this is majority of what I want to do with the metric scene for this right now, and really for this video. We're going to move on to the next one, which we already have it. Scenes. We're going to make a new scene, call it the title screen. Get that spelled correctly. Alright, now here we're going to do UI, panel. Now we're going to rename this canvas to UI, and rename this panel to title. Oh, that's right, I should also make it, we'll do it here. For Game Manager, you don't really need any sort of special object, just have an empty game object, and we'll call it Game Manager. And I'm just going to have them always set to the origin of every level we have them in. Oh, that's right, we don't even have a prefab. Okay, we'll do that right now, actually. I'm just going to quickly create a prefabs folder. Throw the game manager in there, as well as the UI. And the reason for that is because I'm simply going to, at least for title, we're always going to be adjusting things predominantly in the UI, in this area right here, which will change it for all of the for the entirety of the prefabs. For title, what we're going to do now is click here, go to UI. Oh, actually, we don't need another panel. We're going to do text instead. Go a little bit forward here. So let's go back to there. Also, let's go back to title here for just 1 second. There we go. Just put all these out just a little bit more. And the reason why we're doing that is because if we were to initially have it, it would just be the edge of the panel would just be on the border, and you'd actually see the end of it. Personally, I just do it like this so that way it looks a little bit more neat, at least at the edge of the screen. Now, this is going to be the title right here. So I'll just call this the title. Now, for right now, I don't have a set in stone title, but the name Shattered time, I do enjoy how that sounds for the game. So I'm going to keep that for now. If I do think that it needs to be changed, I'll change it later. Make that a bit bigger. Let's see here. Where do we... Font style, bold? Yeah, that looks better actually. We can always change this later. It's not set. Like I said, we're editing this thing. It's not set in stone. What we're going to do now is make a button. Call this the start button. Text. Call this start. That way this thing actually, and they duplicate this again and call this the quit. Now, I won't actually be able to test quit because that doesn't exactly work in the editor to test it. So later on I'll be testing quit when I actually like get enough of a thing to justify building this. Let's have that up there, and yeah, actually that looks good. Okay, so now with that all done there, so if we save this and then hit this, that looks good. I like that. Now, like I said, we don't have these things set up to anything, so they don't really work, and we're going to do that right now. So if we go to scripts, click here, create C# game manager. Give that a second to load. Alright, so now that we have our game manager script up and open here, and define our variables. Alright, now for this, what we should probably do first, right up here is say, using Unity engine dot scene management. Okay, now that we have that, we're going to go to public scene, call this the cursing, do a public string, call this scene, and then over here do cursing equals scene manager dot get active scene, and then do scene equals cursing dot name. Now what this will do is simply if there's anything specific for whatever levels we need, this will detect what level we are in, more or less by Unity standards what scene we're in, and be able to adjust accordingly for that level. Update, so actually let's get the title screen set first. So for this we'll do a public void. Now, although we did put start button, there's already a start function, so that really can't work. Plus this handles other stuff. So instead we're going to do and call this begin, and then do when this thing is clicked, do scene manager dot load scene metric scene. So when this thing's clicked, it will load the metric scene. And we'll also get the quit one done. Again, I can't test that in editor, but just click that. And then here we'll do application dot quit. good. You hide it for y'all so you can see what I'm going to do here. Let it mainly load. Go game manager and put that on him. And I don't think we'll ever be in here ever again. I'm not sure though, don't quote me on that. But now on, we have a game manager and he has a scene, so if I hit play, it will show us that we are on the title screen. Right. Now, for title, go to start, add another functionality for on-click, and for this, I'm going to put game manager, drag him from the hierarchy over to here, go to game manager, and then go to the begin function. Actually, yeah. My apologies, guys. I just tried to see if I couldn't show you guys what the builds, these settings for the build settings are, but it doesn't appear to wants to let me do that. So just know that we put in the metric and title screens scenes to the build settings, because if you don't do that, then this couldn't work. Now, like I said, guys, I could totally. We have quit set up correctly, but like I can even actually just realize something. I could technically do this. Debug.log game quit. So if this truly does work, I can actually show you guys that it would work. If this does work, this will appear. That debug log will appear of game quit right here in the console log. Well, it will appear when we press quit button. So loading for whatever reason. And we play. You see this? Why? We set you up correctly, right? Oh, no, we haven't even set you up correctly. Well, glad I did that, actually. Glad I did that to show that now it's going to work. So, glad I did that. So now when we play this, yeah, and for every time we press it, this little number right here is going to go up and show us that we indeed do have that. And of course, we hit start here. It will in fact show that it is working. Alright, so that's basically the title screen and the metrics screen basically done. Next up, we are going to, final thing in the video that I'm going to do for you guys today, or show you, is build the, another panel. Ah! That's not what I wanted to do right there. Actually what we'll just do is duplicate this. And then what I'm going to do here is, call this the pause menu. Actually, we'll just call this pause. For the title, pause menu. And then for the panel for the pause, we're actually just going to bring this in. I don't want this thing to like take up the whole screen. Put that up right there. I'm just going to edit this a little bit, make it look a little bit better. Now, for the quit, this will actually be retitled to the main menu. Main menu. Or title or whatever. I'm just going to use main menu. Start is going to be changed to resume. And again, all this functionality will be done in the all this functionality will be handled in our in our game manager. We should probably set player to be a prefab. That would probably be a smart idea, and then bring the UI system into here. Now, it did not bring the event system, which is what's needed for the buttons to work. So now that that happened, what am I missing here? Yes. Heading back over to Visual Studio. Let you guys see what I'm doing. So here we're actually going to add another variable, public bool pause. Pause. There we go. Now here it's going to be input dot oh, it's an if function. It's supposed to be then input get key down key code dot escape. We're just going to use the escape key because that feels most natural. And pause equals. I can either do pause and I can do this, which would send it to the reverse of the value. I think we'll do that. We'll have it be the reverse of the value, and then go here, public void zoom pause equals false. So we'll allow the player to have it on both these zooms. Now here we're going to do if pause is true. Oh, that's right. We're going to have to. Well, I'll just simply set up this if else if loop here. Else if pause not equals to true. Because we have to do this. Public game object player. No, I typed player. Why did you immediately go to that? Oh, that's why. Player, and then we're going to also do one for the title and one for pop menu. There we go. So here we're going to do player equals game object dot find player, and then title is going to be equal to game object dot find UI first dot transform dot get child. Now for the title it's going to be 0 dot game object. And then for the pause menu, it's going to be equal to game object dot find, again with the UI dot transform dot get child. This will be 1 game object. Now, if we are paused, we want it to first we're going to want time dot time scale equal to 0. This will cause everything in our game to freeze. Excuse me. And nothing can be used. We can't even move, and I'll show you guys that when that happens. And then to reset it, time dot type scale equals 1. Why are you? Oh, you're not capital. Okay, that fixes you. So this should work. So if we go to our metric scene here, so if we're now metric scene, give Unity the moment it needs to load. Save this, play this. Oh, that's right. I completely forgot. I completely forgot. We should probably set up these scenes. Silly me. If scene is equals to, we're not saying it equals to, we want to compare it and make sure it is equal to, we're supposed to do the title screen. Then we want, first we'll say player is equal to null, because we're not going to have the player in title. Well, for now at least, unless I decide to do some weird looking title screen. Title dot set active true. Pause menu dot set active to false. That is that. Good. Now if scene is equal to metric, however, metric scene, then take our, now we already have the player being bound and set to this thing, so we don't need to worry about that. It's just that with all the other levels that we're going to be adding to the game, it doesn't make sense to change it for this one thing, rather just reset the value here. For this, we're going to title dot set active equals to active, I don't know why I did that, to false, and then pause menu dot set active to true, no, false as well. You don't want to randomly like have the pause menu open for no reason. So that should work. Show you guys, close that for you. Play this. It is, hold on. Last time I checked, this was done correctly. They're both showing up as active. That's weird. So weird. I'll definitely be in some of this stuff. Why are you doing this? Because when we play you, you should both be equaling to false. Oh! Okay. I see what's wrong. We don't have the game manager in the scene. That would explain why. that would explain everything. There we go. There we go. Now we got it. Okay, so escape worked. Oh, that's why. Okay. Let me show you guys what I'm doing. I forgot to put on pause. Pause menu. Dot set active. True. And pause menu. Dot set active. False. I forgot to do that. My bad. Okay. Close that to show you guys what's going on in Unity. Play this. So move. As you can see, I am pressing this like crazy. Well, the controls, that is. Oh, why are you not? Oh, I remember this. Right. Player controller. Right, so we need to do this because we do need to do something here. So, my apologies, guys. So, what we forgot to do was, or what I forgot to do rather, was put this thing in here that recognizes that if we are paused from the game manager, then unlock the cursor so that way we can actually use the cursor to click resume or go back to the main menu. So now that that's been dealt with, I can show you guys that works. As you guys can see, we have this all working right here. Did I forget to put, I'm gonna take the wild assumption that, yep, I forgot to add the functionality here. That won't take too long. Game manager, this will be resume. And game manager, this will be the main menu. Did I not put main menu in? Game manager. Yep, I did not put main menu in. That's my bad. We don't need a particle system phone. Public void main menu. Scene manager. Scene manager dot load scene title screen. There we go. That should do it. Alright, let's hide that to you guys, that way you can see what's going on here in Unity. Let Unity load and save the scene. I'll collapse that for now. Play that, and if this works, we can still move, still rotate. Pause that. We can no longer move and pause. Resume works. Oh, I again forgot to put in. I made the function. I straight up forget to add the functionality. Now, if we go in, we can move around, pause, main menu, take us back to the title screen, and vice versa. Alright, and I believe that's all I wanted to do for this video right here. And as you can see, we would quit the game if we could in the editor. So that's all I wanted to do for this video right here, guys. In the next video, we're going to be expanding on this metric scene here, putting some more things in for us to do with. I will definitely explain why I put this level layout in here. I just don't want to give the off chance of confusion by accident, and we'll put in one of the game mechanics because the other one I feel like would be long enough for its own video on its own. So yeah, thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you liked it, please be sure to hit that like button, and if you enjoyed what you saw, please consider subscribing, and I will see you in the next video.